Good morning again. John Augustine back again. Business. Business. What is its purpose and what is the good that it should do? Well, it produces goods that people need uh, and fulfills a need. But now the people that work in those businesses, they're the ones that make it possible. Now, some businesses and companies that produce goods that people require often have profit as their prime motive rather than the welfare of the workers and their reward so as they can live a decent life and provide for their families if they're married and get a living wage. But some companies provide the minimum because they're concerned about profits. And that is not the right attitude to have. The right attitude, the right objective for businesses, and many of them good businesses run with Catholic social principles, which is for the welfare for the workers to be paid a living wage, and for the workers to perform their duties and do what's required to give an honest day's work. So it's a twofold. And even in the late 1800s, when the Industrial Revolution was taken off and workers were often ill-treated, they wanted to maximize their profits. And Pope Leo XIII, that great Pope, produced an encyclical called Rerum Novarum, the just wage for people working in these factories. And they were often tough places to work. Don't forget the mines where they were producing coal, especially in Britain, and young people, before they should be allowed to be doing such dangerous work, were down the mines. And it was a very dangerous occupation. And the companies that ran those businesses run them just purely for profit, and workers was not rewarded. This is where you had strikes to try and get a just wage for the workers and for the employee, the labour corps, that the producers of these products would pay their workers a proper wage, a living wage, because often the wages nearly had them at poverty. And their lives were shortened because of the fact of being underground in very unhealthy conditions. The welfare of workers was not the prime motive of these people, and that's how we're making lots of money and getting rewarded in Britain with lordships and this, that, and the other. And they should have never been. They should have been prosecuted for abusing their workers. So these are the sort of background to business. And now today we have companies and that often don't treat the workers with that sort of respect that workers are due. They often time them and expect them to give them very little lunch breaks or time off to sort of meditate. These are good qualities that enlightened companies do. So that's the way to judge any company. Does it reward its workers with a living wage so the two of them don't have to work, the husband and wife, if they're married? This is the way that a secular government that's not family orientated whatsoever. As a matter of fact, they were paying people that weren't married more tax allowances that were living together. An abominable decision. People that are married should have more tax breaks, especially as they have children, because the way it's gone now, there's not enough workers in many countries to do the work, and which is why they have all these immigrants and keep the wages low. So there's an agenda there at foot, and but they won't admit that, will they? We see it here in this country. I see many workers from other jurisdictions whose command of English is not great, and yet they're working in many places, including answering phones from semi-state bodies, and their command of English is pretty poor. If you're ever talking to them, it's like talking to a child. You have to sort of keep the language simple, and sometimes you don't know what they're saying because their accent is different, and it's very hard to make out what they're saying. I often have to sort of kindly sort of say, well, I don't understand you. Would you have a colleague, perhaps Irish, that I can understand? You know, this is the sort of thing we're up against. And so while it's a good thing to employ people from other jurisdictions, it shouldn't be at the expense of Irish. Although there are plenty of Irish, I think, apparently working. But yet there's plenty of them not working because I see them. And young people that get unemployment assistance for doing nothing, they should be obliged to do something for money. Nobody should be getting money just for being idle. It's not a good thing for them or for society. They should be once they're paid by the state, they should be able to do a couple of days' work in the community of some sort, perhaps helping the elderly, which they don't do. Surely to God, this government that has able to inflict all sorts of problems on people, the killing of the innocent, interfering with marriage between a man and a woman, and euthanasia and assisted suicide probably going to come on here because this secular crowd that we're saddled with run that. Thanks be to God, this company, members of the Parliament, TD, is going to be formed to support pro-life, led by that marvellous named person from Cork, Michael Collins, that great patriot that suffered assassination by the force of evil in Ballinablon, County Cork. So we have another son from County Cork with that famous name, and about to form TDs, members of the Irish Parliament, to give people a choice pro-life. And I hope that they have candidates in every constituency where there is no pro-life candidate. Yeah. And I wish them luck because nobody could support the parties that are in the Dáil at the present time whatsoever. Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, the Labour, the Greens, inflicting such problems on people, and the cost of living have been responsible for that, and closing the Borden Mourners production of briquettes. An awful stupid thing to do, and interfering with farmers, blaming cows for something to do with the atmosphere. Did you ever hear the lick of it? Anyway, we hope that Michael Collins and the colleagues that support him will come forward and give us all a choice. I'm fortunate in Meath West that Peadar Tóibín, which is a very good pro-life candidate, and a party called Aon 2, a difficult one to sort of identify with. Pity they didn't pick a name that was more what I call user-friendly. But however, that's what he had, and he didn't have success with his candidates in the local elections in the 6 counties, unfortunately. But they have good objectives, and they're pro-life. and he's an excellent TD. He was in Sinn Féin, but he saw the light, and he repented, and I hope he continues to do good. So that's business. So I hope that you remember this, and if you have any children that's working in places where they're not getting a just wage, just inquire into it. Yes, make sure to get a just wage. So by now, and we finish with blessing ourselves. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, amen. A good thing to do when you pass the church or the graveyard. By now, enjoy the rest of the day.